Today, state lawmakers are looking at ways to get Connecticut out of the red.
And that includes some very unpopular options. Fox 61's Javon Vitale reports from the Capitol.
A busy day here at the state capitol in Hartford amidst news that a bigger than projected deficit might be facing the state. In the meantime, lawmakers trying to come up with creative ways to raise revenue, and that includes the very unpopular option of raising taxes. State lawmakers working against the clock and in many cases against popular opinion when it comes to how to get the state out of a fiscal tailspin. Among the proposals being considered, raising taxes. One proposal raises the state sales tax from 6.35% to 6.99%. Another raising the state income tax from 6.99% to 7.49%. Republicans and Democrats at odds fiscally and philosophically.
We're having a hearing. We're being transparent. It would have been nice to perhaps have a hearing on your budget proposal that we have yet to see. But we're not going to have that conversation.
Do you really want to go down that road? You want to do that now? You want to do it now, or do you want to do it later?
Yep.
I would just ask you to please think very, very carefully about what you're doing.
Connecticut is staring down a budget deficit of almost $2 billion by some accounts, and some state leaders say drastic measures are necessary. Among the options being considered, taxing nonprofit organizations.
And this was about engaging in a conversation. This wasn't about punishing nonprofits, diminishing their value, or trying to hurt them.
Nonprofit groups say the potential proposal could devastate them. Opponents to the measure came out in force at the Capitol, pleading with lawmakers to not consider this option.
Like a slap in the face. Like I said, we're always on the cutting block for budget cuts.
As talks continue over how to get Connecticut's books back on track and at what cost.
The financial impact will no longer allow us to serve our local communities and would end our existence as a nonprofit organization.
And while there is no set timeline on when these bills will come to a final vote, House leadership is confident that there won't be a need for a special session. Reporting at the state capitol in Hartford, Javon Vitale, Fox 61 News.
John, thank you. Okay, so a busy day at the Capitol. A lot of reaction coming down now after a key budget committee failed to vote on a spending plan today.
So Fox 61's Jen Bernstein has an update on the budget process. And Jen, this so-called budget breakdown all really happening in just the last few hours.
It has been a busy last few hours, and Javon has been running around like a crazy man at the Capitol trying to gather all of this for us. But we're talking about the Appropriations Committee here, which Democrats control by about 1 seat. Now, as of this morning, they said they believe they had the votes to pass their spending plan, but the afternoon continued to tick away, and at 3 o'clock they adjourned their meeting without a vote. Now, just to give you some background here, the governor presented his budget back in February, and then over the last few months, there have been public hearings after public hearings on those various proposals for the state's next 2-year budget. The next step is that the Appropriations Committee puts out their spending plan. Now, we heard a few details about it this morning. They rejected some of the controversial proposals in Governor Malloy's budget, including the education cost-sharing component that would essentially redistribute education dollars to the most needy communities. It also did not include Malloy's proposal to push teacher pension costs onto the towns and cities. But again, Democratic leadership did not put it to a vote. Leaders from both parties pointing fingers at one another for the breakdown. Republicans say they plan to put out their budget later this week.
I think it's important that our ideas get out on the table, that we could bring them out, and particularly in light of the fact that appropriations has not put anything out. We'll certainly put our budget out from the House, Senate Republicans and say, here are the ideas we're thinking about.
There we are at the table, negotiating. Things are coming in, going out. You're compromising in areas to get something in another area. And at the very last minute, they pull the rug out from under your feet and say, we're off the package, we're not going to vote for it. This is now going to become your product. And it's not our product. It was a product of bipartisan negotiations.
Well, also today, Governor Malloy responded, saying, I am profoundly disappointed that neither Democrats nor Republicans could produce a budget that makes responsible progress towards addressing our fiscal challenges. He says, as of right now, his budget is the only one on the table. Now, we are hearing that both parties, again, pointing blame at one another on why appropriations did not vote on that proposal. We are hearing, again, Republicans will put out their version of the plan later this week. The Democratic-controlled Appropriations Committee says that they are still working working. So there are a lot of moving pieces here. They have about 7 weeks until the session ends on June 7th for the governor, Republicans, and Democrats to come up with a plan to get Connecticut out of a big budget hole. Back to you guys.